Check. 1 2 1 2. Hello. And we should be live from the Madison. Oh no, it's not. And so, good morning. It's the Danny Ric Delivery stream. All the motorsport news that's fit to print, eh? Now, unfortunately, we do have a job in progress or not? Can't remember. I had a few things pop up and I couldn't do the Wednesday or Friday streams last week, but we can't miss Danny Ric Delivery Day, right? Where am I on the world map? Geneva. Do we have a load on? So what are the topics for conversation today, even though there hasn't been a Formula One race? Well, we're getting into the good part of the season, aren't we, where it's all about news. Let's turn the old beacon off. Job market, freight market. I thought we had a job queued up, didn't you? There was an update, so the update may have actually ditched the job. So what do we got? And where do we feel like going? Do we want to sort of France, Germany, or do we want to get over to Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, all that type of stuff? We'll just see what we can get, eh? Airmails. Oh, yeah. Loaders to Calais. Forklifts to Lyon. I think we'll take that one. 11 hours to get there, we're fine. Let's get some loaders, huh?
Drive safe.
Oakley dokley. Is this the exit? No, it's not the exit. I was waiting for the gate to open. That gate's not going to open, sir.
Turn right. Turn right.
So I think the first thing to talk about in the world of motorsport, isn't it, is finally the news McLaren is going to start up an Indycar.
Keep left and then turn left. Turn left.
Yep, I'm turning left. So I mean, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Pretty interesting. I think they've done a pretty good deal in terms of the sort of people who are gonna run a team with them or for them, however it's going to work. You know, they're obviously a sort of decent middle field. I mean, with Wickens, you know, they were winning
Go
races.
straight on.
Schmidt-Peterson. Pretty interesting is switch to Chevy as well. I sort of feel like that tells you their goal is to maybe win the Indy 500. That's the first goal. Not so much the championship, but the 500 is where what they're targeting. Because the Chevys sort of seem to have it a bit better on the ovals, don't they? The Penske's at least. But the Chevys seem to be...
Get ready to turn right.
If you had to pick, you'd probably pick a Chevy for an oval and a Honda for the road course.
Turn right.
I mean, I guess the question that's on the tips of people's lips now is driver lineup.
It's all over now.
Right, that's our one there. Take your job. Right. Oh, okay, it's just that pillars blocking it. There we are. There's our friend.
Ready to roll.
There we got. Okay, so we've got our two loaders here. Let's set our map. Let's set out the map. Weird tree there. 18 million tolls. Paris. I think we should take a detour at Paris. What do you think? So we totally want to go past there. Still thinks that's quicker. I think I'd rather get off and go here. Yep. And then here. Yep. Then we'll go here somehow, which will be fun, won't it? 799 kilometers. We want to go past there, and we want to go past there. I think we'll just go around the block there rather than do a U-turn, but you know, sure thing. We will have to do a fuel stop, won't we? Somewhere around Paris.
Let's go.
Oakley dokley. So yeah, the driver lineup, the McLaren driver lineup. Do you see either the two guys that got currently staying? I say no.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
I get the feeling they're going to have a fairly decent driver budget. I feel like they really want to win the Indy 500. So at least one of those seats is going to go to somebody who's got a genuine Indy 500 winning chance. Now, I can't remember what happened with Rossi. Did Rossi sign yet? I feel like he did. And I don't see them keeping Ericsson. I mean, so Ericsson was, you know, sort of middle of the road in F1. Then you're either sort of going to go to Indycar and you're a star or you're not. He sort of hasn't really impressed, has he?
Go straight on.
So I can't see Ericsson getting the seat. Now Hinchcliffe, apparently Hinchcliffe is a contracted sort of Honda driver. Yeah, we're going to make it, no problem. Get the DRS open and get past there. We're doing 88 kilometers an hour. It doesn't feel like it. Man, this Renault, it's effortless, eh? This is where I get caught out on one of these turns. Put it on its side. So, I don't know. No matter who Hinchcliffe's contracted to in terms of motor or whatever deal he's got with Honda, whatever that is, you know, how highly do you rate him? So, I don't know, I think they're going to
Get ready to turn left.
Go for a really quality lineup.
Turn
Maybe
left.
one promising younger driver and someone, a premium driver who you think he's an Indy 500 winner for sure. As far as young drivers who sort of were pretty cool, I mean, there's talk of Herta, isn't there? There's talk of Herta. Who else I think is what promises Rosenquist? You know, I could totally see Herta McLaren for sure. One of the questions is, I take it they're going to run a 2-car team. I mean, maybe they'll run a 3-car team. Maybe they'd run an extra car themselves at Indy. Now, would you think maybe that's a more likely scenario for Alonso, for McLaren to just run him at Indy in a 3rd car?
Turn right.
Rather than, you know, doing whole seasons. Because I don't know, unless they run a 3-car team, you know, which I suppose is possible. I sort of don't see where Alonso fits into the plan. You kind of want a really ace IndyCar driver.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Some of these entry and exits really don't help when you've got a whole truck with a big load on, do they? So I don't know, if I had to guess, actually, it wouldn't surprise me if one of the Penske drivers went to McLaren. Newgarden or Power. Power hasn't looked fabulous this year, has he? I reckon it'd be actually a coveted seat because sort of racing for a big name, you know, you're racing for a well-known name. There's going to be a lot of press and stuff like that that comes with that seat. A lot more worldwide appeal than, whoa, that was a tough one. Oh, let's take the old evasive action there, Gorka. So yeah, in terms of IndyCar seats, I think it's a pretty appealing seat. I mean, for sure, you know, it'd be very interesting to see Alonso do a full-time IndyCar season. It's the question of, does he want to, and what sort of money would he want for it? Because the budgets in IndyCar are a lot less. I think it's why it makes total sense for a team like McLaren to look at IndyCar as well. I mean, I think it was Penske recently said to run an IndyCar, you know, one car, costs him $8 million a year, and to run one NASCAR is about $30 million. $8 million a year compared to, you know, the budget you have to have for Formula One. It's just a drop in the bucket, isn't it? It's a lot of exposure compared to Formula One for not a lot of outlay. And If the whole season for one car is costing 8 million to run, you're not going to pay someone 20 million to drive it, are you? So it sort of comes to the question of how much does Alonso want to do with the IndyCar? I mean, it is worth paying him a fair whack because there's a lot more interest if Alonso's in the seat. You know, especially from people outside of the US. I mean, people outside the US are going to be interested because it's McLaren. But there'll be even more eyeballs on it from outside the US if it's Alonso in that McLaren. So I don't know, I sort of think it comes down to, does Alonso want to do a season, and does he want to get sort of Formula One money? Oh, my driver. I must check her progress after we finish this one. So, but yeah, but from an economic point of view, it just makes total sense, really. I don't really understand why a team like, say, Red Bull or Toro Rosso isn't there. I mean, I'm sure that they have a lot of information about how many people watch IndyCar and what demographic they're in. Maybe demographically it makes much more sense for someone like McLaren than Red Bull. It's McLaren sort of ideally. Another person who may be ideally placed would be Williams. But McLaren just have more of a history of racing in other series. So for the sort of outlay, and you know, we're not taking into account them getting any, or you know, what sponsorship money they're going to get. It makes perfect sense, really, doesn't it? Because they have a product to sell now in their road cars. If you have a sponsor too with Formula One, you get a certain amount of reach and sort of kudos from it. But you know, one of the problems with sponsorship in Formula One is penetration of the US market. If you can say to a sort of sponsor, you know, we can do a deal where put you on the wing on the F1 and the IndyCar. And as well, you know, you can have separate sponsors in IndyCar. The liveries don't have to be exactly the same, which makes total sense. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's a move that makes sense. I mean, I said previously that to me what they wanted to do really was start as soon as possible. Maybe it just wasn't possible to start by 2019. They couldn't get the deal done, or they had something worked out with Schmidt-Peterson, but they couldn't change over to Chevy or something like that, whatever. But yeah, it just makes total sense to me to McLaren and Indycar. It's one of those things you sort of go, why didn't they do this sooner? For whatever reason, this thing seems to cruise well at 90 k's an hour. We will take the next reasonable fuel stop, I think. So yeah, I mean, are there any other Formula One teams where you sort of think, why wouldn't they be in IndyCar as well? I mean, there's Haas. They're sort of a bit different, aren't they? Sort of forgetting about them and all this. Oh, who else would... Oh, dude! That was Excitement Plus. We have to take both of these lanes, I think. Where's our truck going, actually? For... Oh. Oh, that's fine. So yeah, there's a lot to think about there. I guess one of the only concerns I had with the, and it's sort of why I'm glad that they're working in conjunction with an existing team, is you don't want to see too much of the Formula One protesting, whinging about every rule, wanting others to get a penalty. Oh, you can't touch cars at all. But you don't want to see any of that creep into IndyCar, do you? You sort of want IndyCar to... I think sometimes they can be a little bit too forgiving. Some of the infringements that people make. But I guess it's a case of better that than the alternative, isn't it?
Okay, let's find a new route.
Don't worry, we're fine, lady. So yeah, you don't want to sort of see those sort of, you know, pressuring the steward tactics. In IndyCar. You know, you sort of hope they keep that in mind. Alright, we've got our fuel, we've got our spine, and we've got our orange crush. Oh, we're going to branch off down here anyway. So, we'll stick to the old... €147. Up yours, mate. Jeez. Ow. So yeah, but besides that, it's all excitement, isn't it? It's all excitement. It's something interesting.
Keep right.
Just goes to show, you know, they just get a little bit of momentum in Formula One, just a little bit of success, and like all of a sudden it's all positive, you know. It's all positive. But yeah, Alonso, do you think you'll see Alonso in IndyCar next year? Full time. I'm pretty sure we'll see him at the Indy 500. Will we see him full time? I think it's kind of what's happening with the other drivers, and does Alonso want to do it? How much does he want? I mean, there's no doubt I would love to see Alonso racing the IndyCar. I don't want to see him bitch and moan when other people just push him out of the way or something, though, you know? He's got to accept that the racing is done differently there. But as long as that's the case, you know, it'd be great to see him in something of a competitive car, even though he's sort of, his age is getting up there, isn't it? So to me, it's a very attractive proposition for a sponsor. You know, they kind of need a headline sponsor, and to me, if I was a headline sponsor, this would be much more interesting to me. Than just a sort of middle of the road Formula One team. Especially at the moment, because, you know, say in 2020, or from now on and through 2020, they'll sort of garner a lot of press, a lot of interest.
Keep left. Keep right, and then exit right.
Keep right, then exit right. Will do.
Exit right. Keep left.
Off to Gay Paris. So, yeah, it's all pluses at the moment, isn't it? You know, it's exciting, and man, I can't wait to see McLaren in IndyCar. And hopefully it'll sort of raise IndyCar profile even more. I mean, IndyCar deserves to have a good following outside of the US. I mean, to me, it's sort of the best open wheel category. I mean, to win the championship at IndyCar, you know, it's not like, oh yeah, luckily my ass was in the right seat. You know, there's a lot of competitive teams. And unfortunately, it's one of those things, money still talks. You know, those two big teams still have an advantage over everyone else a little bit. Just because they're
Keep right, and then exit right.
Their preparations, you know, their facilities.
Exit right.
It's like V8 supercars, the same two teams are here now, Andretti and Penske. And yeah, it's hard for even the big Australian teams, well, they sort of amalgamated with Australian teams, but it's hard for the other bigger teams to compete just because of the resources and that type of stuff that they have. So even it's theoretically a somewhat parity formula. You know, at the moment, Penske is essentially dominating. Which is cool for Dick Johnson Racing, but you know. The thing with V8 supercars was that it used to be a lot more accessible for someone to build a team into a winning team, because the scope of the rules meant that, you know,
Keep right,
it's reasonably possible for people to build a winning car. Over the years, that's sort of changed.
Exit right.
It's always been the case, you know, if you've got more money, better facilities, more people, better people, well, you're gonna do better, aren't you?
At the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit now. Turn left.
So yeah, to win the Indycar, you know, not only that, you've got to deal with road courses and ovals. The road courses, you know, are very unforgiving, most of them. You know, quite a few street circuits. And, you know, the road courses are such that there's not tons of runoff and all that type of stuff. So you have to be very consistent, you know. Got to be consistent at both roads and ovals. So yeah, it should be one of the...
Get ready to turn left.
It deserves a lot more respect internationally than it gets, you know.
Turn left.
But, you know, being from Australia, you know, you never hear anything about Will Power on the TV. You never hear anything about, he's a New Zealander, sure, but Scott Dixon. You don't hear about these guys. I wonder if it's the same in Sweden. Does Sweden get to hear about Rosenqvist and Ericsson? Did they say on the news such he did, you know, Rosenqvist had a great day at the IndyCar?
Get ready to turn right.
Who knows?
Turn right.
Just checking this is a road. We're due Thursday, 2 o'clock. 10 o'clock to Friday AM, so we're fine in terms of time. So yeah, that's the big news, isn't it? Oh, Hidika, hello. So I guess the Formula One off-season news is that everyone's still waiting on Vettel. What is Vettel gonna do?
Keep left.
Is Vettel going to go or stay? I'm still leaning towards him.
And then exit right.
I'm still leaning towards him going.
Exit right.
I think we should know reasonably soon, because if you were staying, you know, you would sort your contract out by now. Yeah, this is the sort of time where you sort of think,
Keep
he
left.
has got it sorted out by now. Then, is he going? That sort of seems to be the key domino, doesn't it? About what's happening at Mercedes sort of seems pretty set between Bottas and Ocon.
Keep right.
I feel more and more that it's going to be Ocon. But in terms of what happens with everyone else, it sort of seems like
At the roundabout, take the first exit.
what is going to happen with Vettel is still the key question, and we still don't have an answer to that. That's what makes this time of the year just so good, doesn't it?
Exit now.
There's nothing happening, there's still plenty to talk about. But
Go straight on. Get ready to turn right.
I feel like maybe if we had gone up that other street, this stupid GPS, maybe we can just go around the
Turn
street.
right, and then continue straight on.
We'll do. Does this actually just go
Go
around the
straight
block?
on.
I hope we've come up the right spot here. Yeah, there's a Renault dealer.
Turn left.
Renault dealer discovered. Yeah, so we can just keep going around the block.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Oh, okay, it's not going to clear that. It's not going to clear this, but we don't need it. No, just let me switch it off, you. Oh, you bastard. Let me switch it off. Please. Please. Okay. What? Okay.
Time to hit the road. Turn right.
We have to swing wide out here. Hey, mate. The wide swingers. So yeah, I think there won't be a clear picture out of a lot of Formula One teams or drivers until
Go straight on, and then turn right.
what's happening with Vettel is known.
Turn right.
I mean, there was, of course, people talking about Vettel going back to Red Bull. sort of don't see it myself. I mean, I know Red Bull might be a little bit stuck getting rid of Gasly, but and who do we put there? But I can't see Vettel going back to Red Bull. Can you? I think his dream, he's got a Ferrari dream. If he goes back to Red Bull, he's going to have to battle Max.
Take the third exit.
Oh, the delayed indicators. So,
exit now.
There we go. Got that apex. See, I think it's at the moment, isn't it? All eyes on Vettel, all eyes on Ferrari. What's happening there? And then after that, a few dominoes can sort of fall.
Go straight on. At the roundabout.
Speaking of Vettel, he did say during the week, and he's 100% right,
exit now.
Just as there's been a spate of good races, which have been good because basically of change of conditions of the track, you know, doesn't fix all of F1's problems. He's 100% right, obviously. We said this, didn't we, after the Austrian Grand Prix, when they actually had, you know, the first of their run a sort of a few decent Grand Prix. It's sort of, there's a whole lot of problematic tracks still on the calendar, a whole lot of difficulties to do with the cars being able to compete with each other. And
exit now.
Yeah, those things still need to be addressed. A lot of this positive press might be coming from teams really that aren't too keen on, whoa, dude. Having things change. That in F1 news this week, I mean, it seemed very much a sort of watch and wait on what drivers do. Still a lot of articles about
get ready to turn right.
Should Magnussen have got more than a warning
turn
at
right.
The last Grand Prix for his the way he was defending against Danny Ric. I mean, this being Danny Ric Delivery, then we have to sort of say, well, of course, whatever Danny Ric says must be true. I don't know. What do you think? I feel like there was a couple. I'm going to give kudos to Danny Ric for getting out of the throttle. You know, when somebody's doing something that's dodgy or they're having an accident in front of you, whatever it is, the onus does, it's like real driving. If you're the car behind, the onus is on you to try and not hit the car in front of you, you know? Even if that person's doing something silly or you can't work out what they're doing or whatever it is, yeah, they shouldn't do certain things, you know? But he sort of got out of the throttle on those things. He felt it wasn't worth it, I guess. I mean, I'm all for tough racing, But I do think that up until
Go
now it's
straight
been
on.
pretty clear that under braking you get one move to defend. And that's the sort of rule that's been working really well for the last couple of years. You know, people know exactly where they stand. You can't complain that he cut you off because he gets one move. You can't complain that you got a penalty for making 2 or 3 moves, because you know what the thing is, you get one move under braking. So there were definitely a couple of times there where, to me, he moved more than once under braking. They sort of didn't enforce it. So I sort of think, well, because nothing really happened, except Danny Ric had to pull out of whatever move he's making.
Go straight on.
No penalty, but I feel like they want to keep that very clear rule. It's good to have clear rules. Get one move under braking. Installment €5,700. Thanks. So one of the things that I think makes good racing is when the drivers have clarity of what they can and can't do. So, for instance, when they didn't give Max a penalty for pushing Leclerc wide at Red Bull Ring, you now see people making that manoeuvre a lot more, because they're effectively saying, right, so we know we can do this. I can get up the inside. If I'm up the inside, you know, if I'm side by side at the corner, I can push the person
straight on.
wide and complete the pass. And that guy's going to either be run over the curb, or he's going to have to get out of the gas or have contact. And you sort of see in the last few races how well that's been working, because people sort of go, well, this is an overtaking manoeuvre I know I can do. And that's been working really well. You know, when they have clarity over what they can and can't do, they can sort of start getting the job done a little bit more. So the one move under braking was a great thing. I mean, you could have had one no moves under braking. You sort of go, well, you don't want to see people not being able to defend their position, but you don't want to see people just making it impossible to pass because they're just weaving all over the entry to the corner. So the one move under braking is a good rule, or a good rule of thumb, whatever it is. If it's a rule or a rule of thumb, or a good interpretation, or a good precedent, whatever it is, it was clear, and people were using that. You know, if they dummied one way and the person moved to cover that, they could go back the other way, and you know, you can manufacture an opportunity to get past. So I think it would be a shame if they don't just keep that very clear option open. So you know, say when we look at the Vettel incident in Montreal, that's just made drivers' lives freaking impossible. Whereas if you look at the use of, say, the use of markers, you know, so you have to rejoin the track safely, you have to go to the left or the right of a marker, depending on where the marker is. If you have a firm and reasonable rule like that, you can't sort of complain about. It's the same for everyone, and it's black and white. You went to this side of the marker, you went to that side of the marker. Now, I do think in both of those cases, there sort of needs to be a question of,
Go straight on.
was there anything else the driver could do? So what I mean by that is, if you're in the middle of an accident, like you're literally having an accident, and that means you go one side of a marker or the other, I think the accident is enough of a penalty. If you had no physical ability to go to the left of the marker when you had to go to the left of a marker, an additional penalty doesn't really help anyone, does it? It's like when Vettel rejoined the track. They say you've got to rejoin the track safely, but if you had no option to rejoin the track safely because you were in the middle of losing it through the corner, the guy behind you hasn't helped the situation because, well, he's not putting his foot on the brake even though you're having an accident in front of him. Now, you didn't really have a choice. It wasn't like you sort of said, I'm just going to cut this guy off. It's like, shit, I'm having an accident. Stay on the track. You know, keep it together. Keep it out of the wall. Oh, you rejoined the track unsafely. It's not.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Typical, it's going to start raining just when you need to get out of your truck.
Exit now. Keep right, and then turn right.
That's right, we've got to do a bit of a loop here, aren't we?
Turn right.
Chris, you've got an actual green light.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
Man truck,
Ready to turn
MAN
left.
truck dealer. Nice, okay. Where are we going here? We're going
Turn
left. Nice weather we're having here in California.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Right, do we pick this up?
Keep left,
Yes.
and then turn left. Reroute.
Yeah, I won't be keeping left and returning left, let me tell you.
Keep right, and then turn right.
So yeah, the
Turn right.
what else is happening in the world of motorsport? Looks like Russell will still be at Williams. That seems pretty set by now,
Keep
doesn't
right,
it?
and then turn right.
Well, what's going to happen with the other seat at Williams?
Turn right. Get ready to turn left.
I just can't see.
Turn left.
I think it's should be the end of the road for Kubica, don't you? He still seems to have a lot of fans in some places. Oh, that's what you do with your caravan, bro.
Turn right. Finally, we are hit.
Am I gonna? There we go. Made it. Nah. You know what? I can't even be bothered. There you go. Here's your loaders, mate. You do what you want with them. Let's check our other truck driver, Katie. She still hasn't got up to that third long distance that I want. Come on, Katie. Your money, 160,000. What's happening at the bank? Yeah. Well, I guess we get ourselves another job, eh? Job market. Freight market. Freito Marketo. Where are we, Calais? Glasgow, Great Britain. Hot chemicals. 39 an hour. 39 a kilometre. Oh, yeah? That looks pretty good to me. How long have we got to get there? 5 hours. Hot chemicals it is.
Drive safe.
Whoa. Gonna make this turn. Yep. Just around the corner. Nice. We might need our lights on, eh? It's a bit rainy.
Turn left. Turn right. Get ready to turn right.
So the DTM
Turn
in
right, and then keep right.
the DTM in Brands Hatch. Rene Rast. He's looking good, isn't he? A little bit better result for the Astons than has been the case.
Keep right.
I think this is a place, isn't it?
Here we are. Safe and sound.
So, yippers. Yeah, Aston looked a bit better, but still seem to have a way to go, don't they? Whoop. Let's go for reverse here, sir.
Let's do this.
I've got to say, like, I've got a real soft spot for tankers. There's something cool about a tanker, isn't there? Map. Well, we may as well go through here. Oh, we could have cut through Brussels, couldn't we? Going to Frankfurt where we haven't been to before. Should we try and pick up Brussels at the same time? We'll take this back road. We'll do this fuel stop as well. So let's go through there. Let's go there and there. Take a fuel stop out of Brussels. And then Frankfurt. We will pick up the unlockable in Frankfurt after we've done, eh?
Time to hit the road.
Look at that cool dude at the front. Okay. We did put our lights on, didn't we? Yeah. There we go.
Turn left. Keep left and then turn left.
Yeah,
Turn
we
left.
totally made that one, officer. No problemo.
Go straight on.
Friday 8:21 to Friday 15:01. Oh, dude, you're right. Yeah, so
Get
Aston.
ready to turn right. Turn right.
It still doesn't feel the same, you know, DTM without Mercedes. I still can't understand the rationale of not competing
Get
in
ready
DTM.
to turn left. Turn left.
I guess maybe they just don't think it pays dividends, you know. They sort of think, well, anyone who's interested in DTM is watching Formula One anyway, and we're doing well there, so it's not paying us any dividend. It's just sort of, DTM should just be Mercedes heartland, you know. Don't know if they didn't have an engine package, weren't confident they're going to produce an engine, or didn't want to
Take the first exit.
spend the money
Exit now.
developing the engine. Well, that was my fault. I was looking at what's rattling. Can't work it out. I think it's the wheel. Stop rattling. There's my truck now, after that. Oh, he's doing it.
Keep left.
Keep left, there we go. Perfect. I was just about to say, which lane do I need to be in? The one that says Brussels. No. Since I'm going to Brussels first. Hope this weather improves. Both in real life and in real life and in the truck. Be nice if it was sunny coming into Belgium. See, besides those things, what else has happened in the world of motorsports this week? Yeah, okay, clearly the McLaren thing is the biggest news. We were going to get fuel coming out of Brussels, weren't we? Is it going into Brussels or coming out of Brussels? Coming out of Brussels, yeah. I think we spoke, didn't we, about Vettel saying, you know, there's still things to fix in Formula One. Just because there's been a couple of okay races, they're more the exception than the rule. He's talking a lot of sense, that Vettel guy. Might have to have some music to bring us on home. Just nip into here.
Keep left and then turn left. Turn left.
Come on, mate. Oh, what are you... Come on, bro. Honestly. Like, what is that, man? Oh. The worst. You're the worst, mate. People in these minis, they're the worst. Sometimes they just drive into you and sometimes they stop for no reason. It's totally like real life though, isn't it? Eh? Sometimes you just can't work out what the hell is that person doing. Just unfathomable.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
just love driving around town with a tanker on, you know.
Exit now. Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
Must remember
Get
at Frankfurt to go and
ready,
pick up that
turn
unlockable. Maybe go and repair the truck.
Turn right.
No.
Keep right. At the roundabout, take the third exit.
See, Danny Ric says he's expecting a better
Exit now.
second half of the
Get
season.
ready to turn left.
I don't know. They got a lot of revisions to make to that chassis before it's any
Turn
good,
left.
haven't they? And they have been talking about that they've got this 1,000 horsepower engine. Have they run it yet? Because it didn't look like it last race, that's for sure. Is it coming after the break? I mean, let's hope it is. I mean, the people who that could really pay dividends for would be McLaren, wouldn't it? Do they give McLaren the same spec engine? I hope so. Their reliability seems to have been better so far this year, doesn't it? I mean, it had a broken exhaust last race, I think it was, but overall, compared to that last season in Red Bull, where it seemed like every second race he was having a mechanical failure, it does seem better. Let's just hope it does have. If it does have 1,000 horsepower, that it'll last a race, eh? Let's hope it's not just all talk, because as in talk, not talk, because they've sort of been saying a lot about this thing. You look pretty silly if you're still as slow as ever. Maybe Mercedes has got, 1,200 horsepower. Oh, that was to get us to... Okay. Next up, Brussels. Look at these sunflowers. Hop on the old NinjaBaka.
Get ready to turn left.
It's a great song, isn't it? The old My Summer Car. Radio chill. Who does it? NinjaBaka. NinjaBaka. There's a YouTube channel. You sort of wonder why isn't this guy more popular? Puts out a lot of sort of, you know, this kind of stuff, synth stuff. It's happy for people to use it too, as long as you credit him, you know. What's that on the ground?
Get ready to turn right.
Now, I've never been to Belgium. Belgium's a country I've never been to. It's sort of on my list. I had a Belgian Shepherd at one stage, which was just a lovely dog. But never made it to the country. Have Jean-Claude Van Damme, of
Go
course.
straight on.
So it's got that going for it. Let's do a quick loop around the block of Brussels. I think we've pretty much covered all of the motorsport news I wanted to cover.
Turn right. Turn right.
If only you could turn right on the red, eh? Vico, nice.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Oh, just like real life, when you get some. Oh, dude, that was totally my right of way, not your right of way. You're the worst.
Keep left and then turn left.
Let's give the police a bit of a. Yeah, you bastard.
Turn left.
Follow D.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Yeah, so all the music that I use on my streams is all NinjaBaka. It's one of the few things where I can find that it's okay and he's happy for you to use it, you know?
Get ready to turn left.
It said he's on Spotify. We're going to be on
Turn
Spotify. I don't use that myself. Come on, mate. Let's... Officer, am I ahead of you now? Very good. Now we're going to take a fuel stop out of here, aren't we?
Keep left and then continue straight on.
Oh, it's the same police officer.
Go straight on.
He's a maniac. I am the law. Oh, he's going to make me slow down on this uphill too, isn't he? This guy's out of control. Alright, next stop, fuel stop.
Go straight on.
Don't you wish... Wouldn't it be great to be able to see into the future? You know, I wonder what trucking and transport will look like in 50 years' time. I always laugh at science fiction when they have sort of a utopian thing where everything's integrated, everyone uses the same systems, and we've never achieved that in our lives ever, you know, or in the human race. Let's all just use Macs. No. Do you know what I mean? Like, the fuel costs, the pain is real. Put in 500 euros of fuel, mate. I just filled up my fuel tanker. Let's call it this one. Why is he going so slow? Are you letting me in? Let's say he's letting me in. Thanks, mate. You're a champ. See, I mean, you sort of think about, you see a sci-fi video and everyone has the same
Keep
truck.
right, and then
It's
exit
like,
right.
no one can ever get there. Like, there's always got to be different types of truck,
Exit right.
different brands, different batteries, different approaches to things. Things won't be interchangeable. One of them's metric, one of them's not, you know. People keep imagining the standardization. It's sort of almost Soviet, isn't it? You've got the Soviet pair of shoes. Everyone's got the same pair of shoes. You've got the Soviet outfit. Everyone's got the same freaking outfit. No one in the future, in the futuristic scenario, just wears a t-shirt and shorts. Is the t-shirt sort of going to go the way the dodo? No one's going to want a t-shirt anymore. The idiocracy, people would have their clothes like on a roll. It was all like covered in advertising. Should pay attention to what I'm doing though, but you know, whatevs. Alrighty, next stop. Can't remember. I think we're going straight through to Frankfurt, are we? We'll be there in 500 short kilometers. Go. Let's pop our lights on. Shit. I think we just need the sort of park lights at the moment, eh? Cone, Liege.
Keep left and then continue straight on. Go straight on.
Whoa, that plane's coming in hot. Oh, did we just switch it as a plane crash, or did he land that plane? Let's watch for the smoke. We're looking at that game called Night Call. It's sort of got mixed reviews. So that looks like a sort of interesting game, but it's had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people sort of say it's good, but not worth the money. I think it's about 20 US. Let's get our next set of lights on here. Le set logistics. Hey mate, he's got the Renault too, I think.
Keep left.
Oh no, he's got the Mercedes. See, this Renault's almost a Mercedes. That's what Danny Ric says to himself every day. I think one of the things of driving for Renault, isn't it, is, you know, they give you a company car. But it's a Renault. They don't sort of make anything that's super exciting, you know.
Keep left and then continue straight.
For Aston Martin, they're giving you a company car. Yeah, that's cool. Ferrari, yep, that's cool. McLaren, yeah, that's cool.
Go straight on.
Even Mercedes, at least they got some pretty cool stuff. Toro Rosso, they give you the Honda NSX. It's alright, isn't it? But what's the Renault? We get the Megane. Are they still tied up with Nissan Renault? I think they are. Maybe you could get a GTR.
Go straight on.
What are we doing here? Coming into Germany.
Go straight on.
Well, we've made it to Germany. It's strange, isn't it? I was sort of thinking the other day that until I was a teenager, there was no such country as Germany. My whole life, there was no Germany. There was
Keep left.
East and
then
West Germany.
Straight on.
Just a blip.
Go straight on.
When talking about going into the future, when you think about the story of the human race, the use of the internal combustion engine, I mean, it's got a bit of time left, hasn't it? It's got some time left. It's not next week that there's not going to be any internal combustion engines. They're going to be around for a long time. But say by 2050, let's say you sort of first started getting them in cars 1850, and they lasted 2050, 200 years. 200 years in the story of man, which is anywhere up to 250,000 years. Let's say the story of man goes on for another 100,000 years. The time in which man utilised the internal combustion engine for his main mode of transport is just a blip. It's just the tiniest blip. And for us, it's a mainstay of technology, isn't it? It's something we've all grown up with, our parents grew up with, their grandparents grew up with. We all spend a lot of time playing racing games and watching motorsport and working on cars and building cars and watching people work on cars. That petrol engine motor car is just a tiny blip in the history of man. I guess personal transport vehicles will always have a place. Although people keep trying to move people to mass transport. But personal
Go straight on.
transport is a freedom that everyone loves. Ausfahrt. Exit. We're in Germany now, that's for sure. He's got the Schwarzmüller log truck. Nice. I love these things because you get them around where I am. Look at this. Man, that's a lot of weight to be dragging up and down big hills, Oh. What's it with these Audi drivers? I've been thinking of doing some different types of streaming. I don't know if people do this or not on Twitch. But of actually sitting up in my workshop when I'm making stuff, grinding away and all that type of stuff. Welding, grinding. Is there a market for that kind of thing on Twitch? Is there already people on Twitch doing that? I don't know. I've never really looked at Twitch much, really, except to broadcast on it, which I started doing recently.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
So we're following that log truck, huh? 200 Ks. Got that U-boat game as well. I think that's still in early access, isn't it? I haven't even touched it. I started trying to play train sim, but I'm not a huge train fan. I start playing, it's like, oh. So during the tutorial missions and that kind of stuff, you know. And God, there's not much here, is there? What do you do? Now, road and air transport to me is sort of cool. The thing with rail, I like it as a concept, you know. I think it's a good way to move a lot of stuff. To move a lot of people from, especially certain parts of the city, you know, all that type of stuff is. Don't get me wrong, I'm not down on rail transport, but it's that sort of, if you're contemplating playing it in a game, for instance, it's that being sort of totally stuck on where it is you're going. You know, if you're sort of driving the truck, there's all sorts of, you know, you can go here and go there, and I'll go this way, go up that road, or nip into Brussels, you know. So I don't know, I mean, I'll give it a go. I don't want a bit of X-Plane, but a lot of that time you sort of spent, you know, when you're sort of doing the actual flying of the plane, means you have to fly the plane and mess around with it and that type of stuff. You sort of need to concentrate exactly on what you're doing. With this, you don't need to concentrate really on this, do you? So for this format of show, where it's more about, it's generated in the general chat now, but it's more about on Monday Motorsport, I've got to pay a little bit of attention to driving, but not that much, you know. Because if I
keep right and then exit right,
scrape the odd barrier or something like that, it's no big deal.
Exit right. Turn right.
You know, this has got the right mix of doing something but not having to concentrate too much. I'm always amazed at people, especially who do sim racing, who can sim race and read the chat at the same time. But for me to read the chat, I sort of have to, you know, I'm not practiced enough at it. But if you're sim racing, man, you've got to focus on what you're doing, and the fact that they could sort of be, it's pretty amazing, really. Alright, driver got us $3,500. Nice one, lady. From KDW has leveled up. Alright, so we need to switch Katie's focus to something else. if I remember. I'll remember to do that at the end of the session. Finish.
Keep right.
He's got some
And then
hazardous
exit
material
right.
as well. 2 tanker loads of hazardous material. Different hazardous material
Exit right.
coming your way. I wonder if they think of that sometimes, you know? If you're driving a truck with a certain chemical in it, do they say, but if you see somebody who's got another chemical trailer, just stay well away from them. Because if the two of you end up together, trouble will ensue. The feeling he's going to Frankfurt too. I wonder if he's going to exactly the same spot I am. It's possible, isn't it?
Keep right. And then exit right. Exit right.
Oh, he's coming as well. You madman. What still would be cool is a game that's sort of like this, but you know, you're driving cool cars just from place to place. I still think, you know, you need some reason to it. Sort of say, a bit like the old vanishing point, you know, it's your job to just deliver the car.
Exit right.
You know, imagine driving across Europe in a, or America
At
in
the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit
a
now.
manual heavy Cuda, but just for the sake of the drive. But like, you know, the Test Drive Unlimited,
And then turn right.
sort of like that kind of thing, but it's
Turn
more just
right.
aimed at just driving.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right. This is where it ends.
Oakley dokley. Continue. What do we want more of? Long distance, I think we're fine for, aren't we? I mean, should we get a bonus on high value maybe? Let's do that. Now we were going to driver manager, that's right. KDW, she's got that long distance. And should we go for high value? No, we've done high value. Fragile, just in time. Go fragile. I'm going to open up fragile just in time, and then I'll set it to ADR. So where are we cash wise? 191,000. I need another 60,000 before we buy another truck. Let's go for the jobbing market. Freight market. Frankfurt. Stuttgart, Munich, Innsbruck, Salzburg, Linz. Wouldn't mind heading down this sort of way. Yeah. So let's stop in Denmark. Oh, I've got the itchy nose. Vienna. Wood shavings. Talk about Stuttgart, aren't we? Get a little job down to Stuttgart. Peas, 18 tons of peas. Oh, we've got an hour to get there. Don't like the sound of that. We won't get there in time. 13 minutes. 34. We've got a tanker to Calais. That's exactly what we just did. Tanker run back in the same direction. Pressure tank. Actually, what I was going to do, wasn't it, was go and unlock that unlockable. Let's do that. Let's do that and get the truck fixed. Fix and fuel the truck. Then we'll probably come back here and pick up that pressure tank. If we've got time. There. Then we'll hook up a job and then call it a day, I think. Here's our trucking friend. It's an Iveco dealer. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's how you do it. Let's get some service here. There we go. Little Renault looks better than ever, right? Okay. Still 1 hour 4 minutes on this one. I think I might take this one just to, I feel like sort of heading down that way, heading down this way. Am I going up to Rust? Let's get peas, that's where... I know it doesn't pay much, but let's take the peas. I think it's just across the road from where we are.
Here we go.
It is just across the road from where we are.
Turn right.
Oh, hang on. Whatever. That's the one we're taking. We're taking this one. No more messing about.
Let's go.
Okay, mappy map. Oh, that's right, we're going to go to Stuttgart, aren't we? We'll go to Stuttgart and we'll... is there any fuel stops on the way? There is. Take a fuel stop on the way. We'll do the unlockables once we get there. Okay. So that will be us for the day. Let's call it a day. And let's end the stream.